going on, people? Quick video. We're trying to make it quick. Today, I want to talk about the world and a lot of the issues we have is because of the world. Now, I'm gonna try to make this video quick, but I gotta get to my points. See, the world is built on confusion. It's built on the worst of human nature, and people want to put all their trust in the same world that actually creates all the problems that we have. It actually exploits the worst of our nature. I tell people, if you hate the world, then stop putting your trust in the world. And if you hate how people treat you, then stop putting your trust in the flesh. Let the results prove the truth. And let the truth set you free from the bondage of the world and of our flesh, so that we won't keep repeating our suffering and having no peace to grow and learn from it. You see, the Bible just exposes the evils of the world and of the flesh. So we'll be able to be honest with ourselves concerning our choices and make a good discerning solution based on the results that comes from our choices. You know, people expecting values that are moral and spiritual from an unholy, unspiritual, immoral world is insanity. And even the problems between men and women, you know, they both have to actually value the law of God to create a higher moral standard unbiased to themselves. You see, if we're both functioning off of preference and our biased, selfish desires, then we'll never agree because we do not value the same things. You know, we have to hire something higher than ourselves so that we can hold man and woman accountable and that we can actually be honest based on that standard. And based on that standard, we can acquire the values in common to properly discern whether a person shares the values so that we can fulfill our role sincerely. You don't want to have to manipulate someone. You don't want to have to lie to somebody to get them to fulfill a role. If they value what you value, then they willingly understand the significance of playing their role. But this is only going to be in a cultured, biblical worldview where you can treat one another like you want to be treated, you know, while honoring and appreciating our individual roles or God-given roles and attributes. This world doesn't do this. This world wants to say men and women are the same, and we're not. This world wants to promote a whole bunch of lies and indoctrinations to keep us fighting each other. See, the world is lacking a moral structure, which is just a logical or ethical rules which are proven to be effective by the results of their implementation and the consequences proven by the rejection of them. See, the world indoctrinates us to value possessions over people, and people don't understand the ramifications of a godless reality and how the system and culture is being manipulated around that ideology to devalue human life and to value the superficial, vain things that feed the evils, to manipulate us more to be controlled by a nefarious system, which only seeks to make merchandise out of us for profit and strips us down to our pure carnal nature, which will lead us to our destruction. We see that in today's society. We're killing each other. We're stealing from each other. We're tearing down the very structures that protect us from the very evils that come from us. And the purpose of this world is to distract and indoctrinate us to reject God by feeding our flesh to not walk in the spirit, to come to truth. You know, the whole aspect of do not love the world is built on the fact that oppression, war, and evil is the nature or religion of this world. We all see it. That's why we all complain. That's why we think we're oppressed and slavery exists and there's disenfranchisement and poverty and all kinds of wickedness, men and women destroying each other. That's because they've been indoctrinated to go with the course of this world. The Bible warned of this, and people want to see the evidence. Well, the Bible had the evidence thousands of years ago of telling a people what happens when they disobey this structure, this law that is given to contain the evil within man and woman. This is why loving God by obeying his way and law by faith, which requires personal responsibility to do it and test it, is actually true wisdom, is a true treasure. You see, all the problems that people encounter in this world, the Bible exposes. You got greed, that leads to corruption and oppression. All these systems are built on people trying to amass great amounts of money by exploiting and destroying people. And we see lust. How many lost generations are because people lack self-control and sexual discipline. They just get with the worst kind of people for the worst kind of reasons. And we have suffering and poverty and bondage that comes from that. Fear leads to hate, murder and desperation, mediocrity, poverty, and unprotected behavior. People don't want to work out of fear that it's going to be difficult. And we have pride. Pride in what? People don't realize you have to have pride in the right thing. If you have pride in evil, you're just going to be more evil and more bold to do it. But if you have pride in God or by his law, then you're going to actually protect not only yourself from your own evil, but others. And others will do likewise. And that, the pride of the wrong thing is what causes anger and jealousy and murder, all of these things. But if we're prideful in the ways of God, then we're going to be held accountable, to a righteous standard, to be wise, productive, honest people, true to ourselves and others. The world places us in a yoke of bondage by our own sins and evils that should only make us wise to seek truth beyond the ways of it, so that we can be set free from the evil within ourselves. That's the evil that people use and the world uses to destroy you, to exploit and manipulate you. 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 through 17 says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passes away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of God abideth forever." You see, the world promotes get-rich schemes over wisdom, honesty, and hard work and creativity. This celebrates entertainers and athletes, billionaire investors, which are tied to serve the world, to only offer the appearance to care about people while actually making merchandise of us all for profit. It's clearly seen. This is an unfair, cold, ruthless world, fueled by exploitation of the weak and exploiting circumstances of people, while sowing seeds of confusion and discourse to destroy families and values in society that cause people to be more easily turned against each other by their own evils and ignorance, which actually will prevent them from standing on a firm foundation to actually oppose these evil agendas and governments. You see, the world is full of lies and distractions that turn folks away from the important things of life, like survival, family, and their own spiritual and mental condition, while putting them to sleep in an endless medium of destructive media. We see it every day. Social media has become destructive, and it just creates narcissism and laziness. And the entertainment makes people lazy, unproductive, and entitled, living in a delusion fueled with their own love of lies and the rejection of truth. Simply pointing out irrefutable logic and proven facts won't make a joyous or joyful fool care about them. Only someone who values the truth will appreciate the results that come from the truth. We constantly complain about the evils, chaos, and confusion in the world while being blind to the source of it all, which is what we all choose to value and make our master or our God. I did a panel talking about why man can't serve two masters. And it's true. People actually think that they can serve themselves or the world and God, and they cannot, because God has a law that exposes the evils of man and the evils of the world to actually make a clear decision of what is good and what is evil. But people want to have this lukewarm, this blending of society where, you can have a fake church preaching lies and people think it's good and all this other foolishness, and we reject the results and evidences of living within a righteous, self-accountable, morally structured society, which the Bible presented, when it's uncorrupted and given by a man who isn't a sellout or a liar. There is only one right and wrong, good and evil. It's like hot and cold and up and down, but this world has turned us from this inward truth revealed in our conscience and hearts and confirmed and aligned with biblical truth as a higher moral standard, than a corrupted subjective lens of each individual. The Bible actually, just confirms the truth about what we already know as a structure to contain the evil within us so that we can maintain honesty, accountability, focus, and wisdom to not destroy ourselves trying to serve ourselves. You don't believe there is only good and evil? Fine. Don't complain if everything is preference and opinion when someone else expresses their own right of their own opinion because they have no basis to care about yours in a higher regard than their own in this subjective relative lie of a world. We all seen, what does it profit a man if he gain the whole wide world and lose his soul? Well, what is the world offering but nothing but confusion? Nothing but money that would actually compromise the very value that keeps the wealth and the status from destroying you. The lies of this world are not even hidden. People are just being told what to think, not how to think. They're being lulled to sleep and distracted by the endless stream of entertainment that only indoctrinates people into foolishness and celebrating dysfunction and profiting individually from to the detriment of society. Call it what you want, but the results, empirical objective evidence presented in this world totally proves a lack of values and a rejection of the truth, which it is and has always been proven by the results of rejecting laws, natural and spiritual, which is why we exist in the chaos and destruction today. Evil will never care, that it doesn't make sense, but it will just in fact celebrate in destruction and dysfunction because it lacks meaning and purpose to life, but to destroy. So I don't want to make this too long. I'm just going to tell people, don't discredit the Bible. Discredit the fools and the liars who use the biblical platform to shout their lies and corrupt agendas, using what the Bible represents to people to cause them to depend on worldly things under a false spiritual context, which is unbiblical, by the way. See, an evil world would do that. It would do anything to bring, to destroy people and turn people away from peace and order and civility so that they won't be productive and righteous. They've done it with the civil rights movement, which has been hijacked by feminist and liberal concepts to promote illogical behaviors. Then with politics, which is just a money-making scheme to give people false hope, to build on lies, so that simple-minded folks who refuse to accept the reality of things will get lost and just put all their eggs in the wrong basket. The educational system is another example. Basic knowledge is no longer the focus, but now making sexuality and feelings more important to keep everyone a victim and dependent on being told what to think. And the parents, and the list goes on. After all, it was Hitler who uses secular principles like Darwinism, survival of the fittest, to produce his agenda, which slaughtered and killed millions of people. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Don't trust the world is why we cannot love one another. Peace out.